this really is a group of die-casts that I could have so much fun making. Wrapped up in green string, made to look like they're rotting, axles bent, vehicles broken, mouth plates torn off. These previously plastic cars are really in disrepair now. That's because they're all graveyard cars, based off of that deleted scene from the first Cars movie where McQueen finds himself in a graveyard. These graveyard cars have been a pretty fun project of mine. I've made these two last December, and I also made, for the first time I'm showing on camera, graveyard car number 3 just recently. He's got a loose mouth plate and everything. These are from some older plastic cars that I previously repainted. Of course, McQueen was still in his early prototype form, custom of that McQueen right there. And so in that deleted scene, that's kind of famous now, he ran into a graveyard and there were all these dead cars, some were hanging from trees, so I gave the first 2 graveyard cars strings and cardboard trees, but over time the cardboard has become broken and such. But yeah, they even had gravestones, and I was pretty proud of them, and I still am. I'm not quite sure if graveyard card number 3 here can live up to 1 and 2, especially 1 where I fully ripped off the mouth plate and painted the inside gold, making it look like the mouth was rotting away, bent the axles and everything, ripped the mouth off of this wheel action driver, Doc Hudson, and this Royal Grand Prix McQueen had a bumper that was hanging off, and no spoiler, so I just kind of took advantage of this wrecked car that I just had laying around and made it into a graveyard car. Before I get started with the review of these guys, I do want to give a quick honorable mention to a guy we won't be taking a look at. This is graveyard car Ryan inside Laney. He doesn't really go with the other cars because this is just Ryan in costume, of course. And so because of that, he doesn't really have many of the features of the original graveyard cars. He's got a lighter green string, for example, and just looks a bit more pleasant. Anyway, though, let's get started with the review, starting off with the first graveyard car. In the future, once Junior Moon and River Scott become more readily available, I'm sure I'll buy a Junior Moon, probably, to make a graveyard car. I do have a spare plastic cruise laying around that I may make into a graveyard car, as well as a Sarge, and also a Sheriff, which I used for the Redline Base Patrol, but I'll have to wait until after Redline Part 2 to do that one, so I do have some plans in the future. And yeah, I'll probably keep on making these even when it isn't October anymore, aka tomorrow. So yeah, this guy's covered up in green string. His back wheels are ripped off. You can see this guy's completely torn apart. His base is broken. He's just kind of, all the string is kind of taped down there. You can see this used to be a color changer McQueen you can tell that from the colors. And his 2 remaining wheels are kind of just waving and hanging and broken. That's because the way that I actually did this was I took, this is actually 2 tires here. This is a set of 2 tires, so is this. I opened up the car, took the set of tires from the back, and put 1 tire inside the car and the other out. Same thing with over here. Now they're kind of hanging. This is, of course, a McQueen, as I already pointed out. No details on the sides, really. They don't start having that much detail until number 2, where it started off with a paint error, and then I think it really worked out well. Before this dock was a statue dock, not unlike the one seen in the credits of Cars 3, even though at the time I forgot that he was shown as a statue in the credits of Cars 3. I just painted a golden dock. And when I painted over it, of course, I must have missed some spots. As you can see, there's a lot of gold. It's may have just been from it wearing through over time. Now I feel like it really helps give it the rotted look. Of course, he doesn't have a mouth, and that doesn't really work as well as it did for McQueen because Doc still has his grill. He's got 1 wheel sticking out, 1 kind of jammed in the car body, and you could still see the blue of Doc on the inside. Again, he's covered in string. His string isn't actually taped, so it's a bit harder to control how to arrange the string. And I think he looks pretty cool. Again, this one adds a lot of gold to that black. And also, I did, for this Doc, I believe, and also for the McQueen, I colored some of the string black in some areas to make it look kind of burnt. And now we move on to Graveyard Car number 3, which introduced another new technique to me. Of course, I do make some damaged customs sometimes. Sometimes there's damaged Ryan and a damaged Jackson Storm. For this guy right here, I decided to use sandpaper, much like I do with my damaged customs, and just kind of coat him and layers of scraped paint, basically. Just scrape the paint away a lot. Again, I just had layers of scraped paint there. And I added that on with the string, and I think it looks really cool. In fact, some of the paint is tearing away, as you can see there. That is the brown base coat on the original plastic car. And you can see, again, his bumper is falling off. If we really wanted to, we could go kind of dislodge it a bit more. There we go. You could just move the bumper down a little bit more. The string around the mouth kind of keeps the bumper secure so it doesn't go crazy and fall off. And on the side, you just have all these scrapes, as well as a technique I used for Ryan inside Laney, trying to use the gold details that had worked so well with Doc. I just tried to draw on some gold and green, but didn't work for Ryan. Made it look more like a costume, which it is supposed to be. So what I did for this guy was I drew on some gold and scraped it off with the sandpaper, as you can see. His tires aren't really as messed up as the other ones, but that's okay. This is more of a simplistic one, but not every graveyard car is going to look insane and messed up. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. See you guys next time, and
happy Halloween. Bye now.